Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be chatting about all things false lashes. This has been by far one of my most requested videos from people online and in my real life. I know so many people out there are curious about falsies but feel really intimidated by them, and one of the first things they ask me is, do you have a video about how to put them on or where to start with shopping, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And up until right now, I did not have a video. So today is the day. I'm going to be giving you guys all of my tips and tricks. I'm going to be sharing a bunch of recommendations for everything from glue and tools and lashes at a bunch of different price points. So if you would like to learn everything that at least I know in my limited experience about false lashes, we're about to get into it. So I think it makes the most sense to start off this video with the demo portion. I will make sure to put a timestamp in the description box for you guys, so if you want to skip back and rewatch the tutorial, it will be easier for you to do so. Clearly, I already have the falsies on, so let's rewind the clock and I will show you how I did this. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys my tips and tricks for applying lashes over like a full glam look with eyeliner. If you were planning on wearing lashes with a very light to no makeup look, you might modify things a little bit, but if you're not comfortable with wearing lashes, I feel like applying them on top of eyeliner is probably the easiest way to go to get them to blend in nicely. So I feel like this is my preferred method if I was going to recommend to somebody to practice. So I went for a glittery halo eye today, which is one of my favorite styles of eye looks for my eye shape. I have very large, deep set kind of eyes, and they are more round, so I feel like in general the halo shape is flattering for me. So I want to find a pair of lashes that's going to not only flatter my eye shape but also flatter this eye look that I created. So I grabbed all of the new Karity lashes that I was sent in PR just because none of these have been used before. They haven't been trimmed, they haven't been worn, so I figured they would be the best examples for me to show you guys if you were going out and buying a brand new pair of lashes today, like what I would do to cut them, shape them, and apply them for the first time. So obviously there's going to be a lot of factors to take into consideration when you're picking out what lash is going to work for you and for your look. Some lashes are more voluminous, some are more natural, some have much longer fibers, some have shorter fibers. In general, it kind of is a common sense match your preference in your eye size and shape to the lash that you're planning on wearing. So if you have more almond-shaped eyes, you probably are going to look really nice in a more tapered lash, versus if you have round eyes like me, you probably would look better in a lash that's a little bit more rounded, which I'll show you examples of those both in a minute. If you have smaller eyes, you probably want to go for a lash that has shorter fibers, versus if you have big eyes like me, you could get away with wearing something with a much longer fiber to it. And obviously anything that's super voluminous is going to give you a very dramatic look, versus a lash that's much more wispy and less full is really going to look almost like your own lashes. It may even not even look like you're wearing falsies at all. So as far as tapered styles versus rounded styles, a tapered style is going to have shorter fibers towards the inner corner of your eye and longer fibers towards the outer corner of your eye. So the lashes taper from shortest to longest as they move across the band from inside to outside. So this style here called Ace, I feel like is a pretty good example of a tapered lash. You can see right here in the inner corner of the eyes, the fibers are a lot shorter, and then they taper out towards the edge. On my eye shape, I feel like these are not the most flattering for me. Sometimes they look almost a little heavy or droopy towards the outer corner of my eye because my eyes are so naturally round. But if you had more almond-shaped eyes or eyes that weren't quite as round as mine, these can be a really, really flattering shape in general. These are also really nice if you're doing like a cat eye, you're doing like a flick with liquid liner, anything thing where you're kind of going from light to dark with your makeup, because it's really going to accentuate that shape you're already creating with your eye makeup. So you can compare that to a more rounded lash shape. So these guys are called Quinn, and these ones you can kind of see the outer corner and the inner corner are almost the same length, and the lashes are at their longest in the center of the band instead of in the outer corner. So here's a little close up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. But like you can see, the longest part on these lashes is right in the middle instead of in the outer or inner corners. So I think I'm gonna go with these Quinn lashes today because I think these will really complement the halo eye look that I've created. Now, before I go ahead and pop these babies on, there are a few other things we need to make sure are taken care of. First, there's a question of where we leave things off with our eye makeup. Now, I personally am someone that likes to do my mascara before I put my false lashes on. Some people like to put the falsies on and then add mascara so they can blend the two together. However, I find that makes my false lashes fall apart faster because you're getting them all gunked up with mascara. So it just feels like you lose a lot of the longevity when you do that. Therefore, I like to go in with mascara first, and that way my falsies are kind of kept a little bit cleaner. I can get more uses out of them, and then I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck. But ultimately, it's really kind of a personal preference thing. There's not like a right or wrong way to do it. If you're getting a really affordable pair of lashes that you're only going to wear 1 or 2 times and throw them away anyway, maybe you like the extra volume and the look of putting mascara on top of them and blending them in with your natural lashes. But if you're shelling out for a more expensive pair of lashes, that's maybe like even upwards of $20, just as a heads up or a tip from me, I personally don't like to get mascara on those babies. I also have applied eyeliner to my upper lash line. Because the band of the lashes we're going to be using is black, I used a black eyeliner. That will just help the lashes really blend in with my lash line, and if it's not absolutely perfect when I apply them, we'll be able to hide it a lot easier. I also find, in general, putting down some kind of eyeliner before you put on lashes will help the glue to adhere better. Sometimes when I'm applying the lashes just on top of powder, I feel like it doesn't adhere quite as well. I see it start to lift up in the inner corner especially, versus I feel like a very smooth matte surface, which you can get from applying especially a gel pencil eyeliner, is gonna give the glue like the best surface to adhere to. So honestly, even if I'm using a liquid pen to create a wing, which I didn't do today, I still will go back in with a matte black gel pencil over my lash line and use that matte pencil to really, again, create that smooth matte surface. And I find when I go, do those extra steps, my lashes stay on so much better. So I have got my black gel pencil eyeliner on, I've got my mascara on, so I'm all ready at this point to put my falsies on. Now, if you were talking to 20-year-old Lauren, she would probably just tell you to pop these babies out of the box, slap some glue on them, and put them on your eyes. But 32-year-old Lauren would probably be completely appalled by that advice. If there is any one thing that you can do to make your false lash application easier, it is trimming your lashes. I don't care what brand you're buying, expensive, inexpensive, almost every single lash out there is designed to be longer than you need it to be. Even for me and my big eyes, I still need to trim my lashes almost every single time I get a new pair. So if you have small eyes especially, this part is really, really, really important. Otherwise, your lashes are not going to apply right. You're going to struggle with it because they're going to be kind of drooping in the corners or poking you in the inner corner of the eye. They're going to be uncomfortable. The only exceptions to this rule may be if you are getting like half lashes that are already pretty small, or I have seen on occasion some brands have lashes that are designed to almost be pre-cut. They're like extra small bands, so you don't have to go through the extra fuss. But if it doesn't specifically say that, plan on trimming your lashes. Now, when it comes to trimming up your falsies, there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do it depending on the style of lash that you're working with. In general, the rule of thumb is that you want to trim from the outside and not from the inside, because typically the inner corners are always the most tapered on a lash band. So if you cut from the inside instead of from the outside, you're probably going to end up with lashes that are too long towards the inner corner of your eye. It's usually a safer bet to work from the outside in. I typically just remove this very, very little tiny bit right up to the edge of where the very first lash fibers start, just because I find that's the little bit that tends to poke me the most in the inner corner of the eyes and causes me the most irritation. So usually I'll remove that, and then I will trim for length from the outside. Now, as far as how much you actually need to cut off, it's going to depend on the size of your eyes, and this is something that the more you wear falsies, the easier it will get, because you'll have a pretty good idea of how much you typically need to trim for your particular eye size. But the very first time you do it, or if you're still pretty unpracticed with lashes, the best thing to do is kind of actually just put it on your eye without any glue and kind of see how much space it takes up, and then you can eyeball how much you probably will need to remove. So I'm going to take one of my lashes here, and something you want to do when you have a brand new pair of lashes, or really before you're about to put them on, even if they're old, this always just helps, is take the band and wiggle it a little bit like this. This will help to just loosen it up. Now this band here is super flexible, so that tells me this is probably going to be a really comfortable lash, and it should be pretty easy for me to apply. But if a lash band is a little bit more stiff, this is a really important part just to make application easier. Okay, so I'm going to take my lash here. There's no glue on this band. I've got my little lash applicators, and I'm just gonna pop this baby right onto my lash line and just kind of see how it fits before I trim anything. But I probably will trim off this little tuft right here on the end, just so that way when the band is actually glued down, my eye isn't being pulled too far down. I feel like it'll give me a little bit more of a lifted look. So that's what I'm gonna aim for when I trim. So I have my handy little teeny tiny scissors here. So like I said, from the inner corner of this lash, I'm gonna remove, there's like a tiny little nub right at the end where there is no lash fibers attached. So I'm just gonna trim that off, so that way I won't have anything poking me in the inner corner of the eye. And then I decided that I wanted to remove this last tuft of lashes here. I usually find if you are using a style that has clusters like this, it's not great to cut the lash band in the middle of a cluster, because then it can kind of hurt the integrity of the lash, and it also can look a little weird. So I typically will look for the spot closest to the edge of the cluster that I'm removing, and usually I'll start trimming there. So for me, that's about right here on this lash. So we'll cut off that little bit. And this is what we've got. So now we are ready to glue this puppy on. This part's really pretty simple. I usually like to use a brush-on glue just because I find it to be so much easier to use than one that comes in a squeeze tube. So I'm just gonna brush some glue right along the edge of the lash band, and then this is the hard part. You gotta wait. Falsies are not a thing that can be rushed. They take time, and you really need to let the glue sit long enough for it to become tacky, or it's not going to stick right and you're gonna create a mess and you're not gonna be a happy camper. Now I'm using the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive with Aloe, and this almost has a bluish tint to it. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but either way, you can tell your lashes are pretty much ready to apply when you see that the glue has started to turn transparent. Obviously, you don't want to let it sit until it's completely dry, because then it's not going to be really sticky anymore. But you don't want the glue to be wet. You want it to be tacky, and usually at that point you'll see the color has changed quite a bit. Now, these little lash applicators are really interesting. They have a curved edge to them, which can be really handy for pressing the lash band down into your lash line and like getting things sealed in there really nicely without having to use your fingers. And there's a lot of different ways you can hold the lashes with this little applicator to make application easier. I'm gonna put the applicator fairly close to the band, kind of more towards the inner corner, because that is where I want the most precision. That's where I'm going to place the lash band down first. So I've got a little mirror here in front of me. I find generally it's best to keep the mirror at an angle so I can look down into it. And at this point, it's basically just practice. This part gets way easier the more that you do it. So I'm just going to settle these guys down so the band comes as close to my lash line as possible. And then I really want to push the corners in, make sure they're stuck down. I can use the edge of my lash applicator to really push that lash band into my eye. This part may be kind of tickly if you're not used to it, but again, the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get. So now I'm just going to trim up my other pair of lashes the same way. You may want to measure your lashes on both eyes if you've never really worn falsies before, because your eyes may be slightly different sizes, and depending on the lash band, whether it's clustered or not, you may trim each of your eyes a little bit differently. But for me, this is my first rodeo, so I definitely feel like I know that I can trim my lashes about the same. Now, while I wait for this lash to get tacky, let's chat a little bit about the dreaded inner corner eye poking. I feel like of all of the things that are going to bother you most about wearing false lashes, it's going to be feeling like someone's stabbing you in the inner corner of the eye. It's very uncomfortable. I think a lot of us who have worn false lashes have been there before. It happens to the best of us. But there are certain things you can do to avoid it. First is trimming off that little nub in the inner corner like I mentioned before. That will definitely help a bunch. Second is placement, and this is going to come again with practice and you learning your own eyes. I know from having worn falsies many times in the past, the farthest I can go to the inner corner before a lash is going to start bothering me. Usually it's kind of right before or right around where my natural lashes stop. That is where I want the band to end. I don't want it to go any farther into the inner corner than that, or when my eyes blink or close, the lash band kind of naturally migrates a little bit inward and it will poke you in the eyes and it will not be pleasant. So as you practice, you will kind of learn how close to the inner corner you can place that lash band without it bothering you. You do want it to be as close as you comfortably can wear them, so that way the lashes look natural. If you start your lash band, in the middle of your eye here, it's gonna look a little more weird and off balance. So again, this is just one of those trial and error kind of things. The more you do it, the easier it's gonna get. All right, second lash going on. And that's it, falsies are on. I actually really like this style. I think they're really pretty. They're quite dramatic for sure, but I feel like with my eye size and shape, again, I can get away with wearing this style of lash. So you're gonna wanna look for something that works with your preferences, your eye size, and your eye shape. All right, so now that you've got all my tips and tricks for lash application, let's chat a little bit about my recommendations for lashes themselves, some different brands I've tried, some different tools, and what I personally think is like the best bang for your buck. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like false lashes are bigger now than ever. We have so many options to choose from, both at the drugstore, from Sephora, from Ulta, or from indie brands. It feels like everyone and their mom is launching lashes lately, so it can be a little bit overwhelming to decide where to start and what to buy. Now, 5 or 6 years ago, I feel like you really only had two options for false lashes. You either had drugstore brands like Ardell that made very affordable lashes that didn't necessarily look super high quality, but weren't gonna break the bank, or you could opt for a really high quality luxury lash, oftentimes made out of mink fibers or silk, that would run you maybe $20 to $30 a pair, but you could rewear a whole bunch of times and they would look really natural and really luxurious and fancy. Fortunately, with the explosion of the beauty industry, now there are a lot of lash options that are somewhere in between those two extremes. So that is personally where I would recommend you guys focus your attention, like lashes between between $6 and $15, I feel like you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. You can get something that looks really nice and even like looks like a mink lash, but that isn't made of mink and that doesn't cost that much money. So if you're looking to shop at a drugstore, Target, Walmart, or Ulta in the drugstore section, the two brands that I like most are Ardell and Kiss. That being said, I don't love every single line within each of those brands. So when it comes to Ardell lashes, my personal favorites are their Faux Mink lashes. I think their number 817 lashes are like my all-time favorite. They're a little bit on the longer side, which works for my eye size, but they still are really natural. The fibers aren't too thick, they're not too dense, they're a little bit more wispy, but they still show up. So I feel like, you know, it's worth going through the hassle of putting them on because they definitely do give my lashes a little bit of oomph, but I feel like I could wear them out and about in person and people might not be able to know that I was wearing false lashes. Now, the reason I recommend the Faux Mink line from Ardell specifically is that I feel like the fibers themselves look a lot more high-end and luxurious than the original Ardell lashes. If you look at a pair of like the old school demi wispies, like some of the Ardell lashes like I know that I used to use when I ballroomed dance in college a decade ago, the lash fibers were not tapered. They were kind of all one thickness from root to tip, which makes them look a lot more artificial. The fibers were also a bit thicker. They just looked more plasticky, which when you are a broke college student, you know, you take what you can get, and they were only like $3 a pair, so that was what I opted for. But now Ardell is offering these really nice faux mink lashes, and they're not that much more expensive. The one thing to keep in mind with Ardell lashes, most of their bands are clear, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're looking for. The advantage to a clear band is that you can kind of wear it with any eyeliner. It doesn't have to be black. It's going to blend in no matter what because the band is translucent. But the downside to a clear band, in my experience, is that they generally tend to be more flimsy, they fall apart faster, and I personally find them to be a little bit more difficult to apply. I feel like they don't hold shape quite as well as a slightly thicker band, so you can kind of curve, like I was showing you guys before, you can wiggle a band and kind of really get it already curved to the contour of your eye, so when you go to pop it on, it just boop, goes right on there. Sometimes I feel like the clear ones tend to flatten out a little bit more, so you have to do a little bit more work to put down the corners, and if it doesn't stick really well, it can just be a little bit more challenging to apply. So basically, while they can look more natural to an extent, I personally find them to be a little bit more finicky to deal with. So if you're a first-time false lash wearer, even though oftentimes a lot of YouTubers will recommend start with the clear bands, I personally think they're actually a little bit trickier. You want to avoid thick bands that are really inflexible and uncomfortable because those kind of suck to put on. But if you can get a black band that's super flexible, those I think are the easiest. Speaking of which, a drugstore brand that has that kind of lash band that I absolutely love are the Kiss Naked Drama lashes. These have a little bit of a thicker black band, but they are super flexible and lightweight and comfortable, which I find makes them really easy to apply. They're also only $6.99 a pair, which is, in the world of false lashes, pretty reasonable. And I found because these have the thicker black band, I usually can wear them multiple times before they start to get wonky looking. Now, a word of caution on the Kiss front. Kiss does make a range of faux mink lashes that are not the Naked Drama ones, so I think all of them say faux mink, but some specifically say Naked Drama, some do not. I do not like the ones that are not from the Naked Drama collection. Those have a much stiffer band. They are like really chunky. They're not comfortable. Those I did find difficult to apply. So if you want to shop from Kiss, look for the Naked Drama. I think they're a little bit more expensive than the other faux mink ones, but it's worth the extra dollar, like 100%. Now, if you don't mind spending a little bit more and you want to support an indie brand, there are a few of them that make some awesome lashes that I really recommend. So the first of those brands is Colourlit Cosmetics. Right now, they only make false lashes and liquid lipsticks. They're a very new brand and the owner is super, super sweet. So I think maybe about a year ago, I think it was last summer that these launched, and she sent me over all 5 styles and I've worn all 5 of them multiple times and I really enjoy them. These are the kinds of lashes that have that very flexible black band. They're really lightweight, so they're really easy to apply and pretty comfortable to wear. The one thing I will say about the styles of the Colourlit lashes specifically is that they're big. These are definitely not natural looking lashes. If you have really tiny eyes, you might want to be careful with these because they are just very long. Like the length of the fibers it's pretty dramatic. So they're perfectly fine for my eyes, but I think if you had really small eyes, you would have falsies like touching your eyebrows. Now, these Colourlit lashes are only $9 a piece, which I think is a really fair price for the quality of lash. Like they have a really, really nice construction. They are a synthetic fiber, but they look really nice and high end. However, because you can only get these guys from the Colourlit website, you do have to consider the cost to ship them. Colourlit only offers free shipping on orders over $60 or more. Otherwise, it is, what is it, $5.45 flat rate. So that definitely can make a difference in the price depending on how many of these you are planning on ordering. I do, however, have a discount code with them. It is an affiliate code and it gives you 25% off your order, which is a pretty significant amount. So that may kind of negate the cost of shipping if all you wanted to do was order a couple pairs of lashes and you didn't want to, spend $60. Another slightly more expensive brand that I also have really enjoyed the lashes from are MOTD Cosmetics. These I think launched this summer, and MOTD Cosmetics is a brush brand. They are proudly cruelty-free, so all their lashes are completely synthetic, and I really like their makeup brushes as well. They are really quite nice. And these guys here retail for more like $13 to $15 depending on the style. Now, I personally reach for my MOTD lashes less than the Colourlit ones because my eyes are so gigantic, and these are a little bit more petite, so I think these would be a better option for someone with smaller eyes because the lash fibers themselves are quite a bit shorter. But I would say, like, quality wise, the Colourlit and the MOTD Cosmetics are very similar. These are very comfortable, they're easy to apply, similar type of band, similar type of deal. You can rewear them a whole bunch of times, so from that perspective, like, they are a pretty solid investment. And then of course there are these brand new Karity lashes, which obviously I just got these in PR and I've only had a chance to try out the pair that I'm wearing on my eyes right now, so I can't really give a review of these, but I can give you some information on them in case you're curious. These are the cheapest of the indie lashes that I'm sharing. These are only $8 a piece, and shipping is also the cheapest from Karity as well. It's only $3.50 flat rate, and it looks like you can get free shipping on orders of $39 or more, although I saw in a different place on their website it said $35 or more, so I'm not really sure which it is, but either way, these are definitely the most affordable of the indie lashes I've shown you guys so far. And having one pair of these Karity lashes on my eyes right now, I can say that they do feel a lot like the Colourlit lashes, which I mean bodes well for the Karity ones because I really like the Colourlit ones, so I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy the Karity a lot. Karity also does have a lot more styles than Colourlit available. So Karity sent me 8, but there are more than that available on their website, whereas Colourlit only has 5. And it does look like some of the Karity lashes, like this one called Sim. This is like a little bit more petite than this like Ace one, for example. Let me put them next to each other so you can see. So this one has a little bit of a longer fiber to it. This is a little more natural looking, so you may have more options ordering from Karity instead. Now, just as a quick word on luxury false lashes, I have tried a few different lashes from a few different brands. I've tried Velour lashes, I've tried ESQIDO, I've tried a little bit from Lily lashes, Battington lashes, and I will say I haven't met a very expensive lash that I haven't liked. Do I think they're necessarily worth the money or that you have to spend that much money to get a nice false lash? No. But if you're able to get them at a discount, say during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, but maybe they're 30 or 40% off, maybe it'll be worth the investment to you. Now, I personally am trying to move away from Mink lashes. I do have some in my collection that I have purchased or been sent, but moving forward, I'm looking to not purchase Mink lashes. These ones from Velour were my favorite. They are the style see-through. These are just the most beautiful lashes. They look so good on me, super voluminous. They're like the perfect shape and the perfect length. So I have been on the hunt for a faux mink lash that looks like this. I haven't found them yet, but that doesn't mean like I've given up looking. I also definitely would recommend the Battington lashes. I've tried the style Monroe, and they are a really beautiful, high quality lash that will last a really long time if you take care of them. They are expensive, but if you are looking for like one lash that you can actually wear every day that really does kind of look like your natural lashes, and I think would work for a lot of different eye sizes and shapes, Battington is a pretty solid way to go. Now, as far as tools, glue, and all that kind of good stuff, my favorite lash glue ever is the ESQUIDO companion eyelash glue. This one is $10, which is kind of expensive, but it has such good hold. Like this stuff, it will keep your lashes on for many hours. They're not going anywhere. I also really like that it has a brush-on applicator, which is my preference. Hands down, go with the brush. Don't get the squeeze tube. I feel like the squeeze tubes are so much more messy. You are way more likely to accidentally glob out like a whole big chunk onto your lash and then get it in the actual lash fibers. It's not a good situation. So no matter what, I would say do yourself a favor. Go with the brush-on adhesive. I was using this one from Kiss today, which I like, but I don't think it has as much hold as the ESQUIDO. Again, the downside to this is accessibility. You can only get this on the ESQUIDO website, and then you have to pay for shipping, which according to their website is a $3.95 flat rate, which is actually not as bad as some of these other sites, or it's free with an order of $35 or more. So if you were looking to get maybe a couple pairs of lashes and the glue, then you could get free shipping and it wouldn't be so bad. I do also really like ESQUIDO's lashes, which are, again, expensive. Their mink lashes are like close to $30. Their unison faux mink lashes are like about $22, which are really very nice. But again, you could also get the ones from Kiss that are very similar for a fraction of the price. And then this little doohickey here, this lash applicator, this is from Tarte, which I believe this retails for $14, but a lot of other brands make similar things. I think Ulta makes a house brand one that's $10, and you could probably use coupons on it and whatnot. The benefit to using this over tweezers is that tweezers have sharp edges and this does not. So for the safety of your eyes, you probably shouldn't be going at your eyeball with a sharp pointy object. Do yourself a favor and maybe pick up one of these. Yes, it's a little bit of an investment, but honestly, I do feel like it makes lash application so much easier. Now, because I am a crazy person and I have a lot of lashes and I've been really into them, I picked up this guy a long time ago. It looks like you can still get this on the Tarte website. It's on sale right now for $34. Which is a lot of money because it comes empty. You're really just paying for the case and the tools that are inside. But this is a lash binder. So mine is obviously pretty full. So again, this comes empty, but you can use it to store all of your false lashes. So if you don't want to have a million little boxes sitting around, this is the easiest way to kind of store everything and to be able to see all the different styles that you have and keep them all nice and safe. This also came with the little lash applicator. That's how I got them. A pair of tiny scissors for trimming your lashes, as well as two little mini glues, one in black and one in clear. To that point, a little note about colored lash glue. I prefer a clear lash glue over a black one because it's more versatile. Yes, the black might be nice if you're always wearing black eyeliner because it dries down even less apparent. Sometimes the translucent lash glue can look a little bit shiny on your eyelashes and it just shows up a little bit more, but black lash glue can make more of a mess. If you accidentally get any lash glue off of the lash line, it's going to get all over your eyeshadow. So I personally would say just go with the clear. So I think that is everything that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope this video was helpful and that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or if there's anything you need extra clarification on, leave all that for me in the comments down below. I will be happy to get back to you and answer whatever I can. And if you have any recommendations, be you a newbie or a false lash addict, for lashes we should try, brands, tips, tricks that maybe I didn't mention, definitely leave those in the comment section as well so we can all learn from each other. If this was your first time here to my channel or you're relatively new in these parts, I hope you will consider subscribing, coming back, and hanging out with me again in the future. And on that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.